from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for January 2025. So on January 6th, we enter into our very first major astrology aspect that, of course, I covered in the 2025 year ahead overview and the workshop in order for you to figure out where these energies are going to be popping off in your own birth chart and therefore the area of life that is going to be most impacted by the major astrology here in the year of 9. And so we have Mars, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desires, even our anger, retrograding back into the Cancer energy here on January 6th. So first of all, again, if you haven't listened to all the forecasts that I put out there, not only for the 2025 year ahead overview, but for January's energy forecast as well, I'm going to recommend you do that. Of course, there's a January energy guide specifically tailored to your zodiac sign to kind of help you figure out where in your solar chart this particular energy is going to be manifest. There are a lot of resources out there. I've been talking about Mars a lot, especially in the year ahead, because of course we're starting the year off with Mars sat on the bench. He's a retrograde. The energy is internalized. There's not a whole lot of physical energy. There's not a whole lot of motivation, determination, inspiration going on. We have to be watching the game. We have to be kind of analyzing what our motivations are. Now, here's the thing. We've been in this retrograde since December 6th. We went retrograde at 6 degrees, 11 minutes of Leo energy, the heart and soul of the zodiac. And so we are essentially creeping back into the Cancer energy, giving us a little bit of a retracing of our steps dating back to late October into November when we hit that 17-degree mark in this Cancer energy. And of course, we're in a cardinal sign. That is the time of change, the time of the changing of the season, so to speak. And in a water energy such as Cancer, there's going to be a lot of emotions to sort through, a lot of intuitive insights to sort through as well. And because Cancer energy is very connected to the inner child, to the mother role, to the familial dynamic, there's a lot of, let's call it, generational power and generational trauma to kind of be sorting through. Of course, Mars in this, let's call it, observatory type of energy, he is kind of gaining restlessness and ants in his pants. He would rather be in the game, taking action and making moves. But here's the thing. We've had a lot of change, specifically a lot of change of heart. We have different wants, needs, desires now, different goals, different ambitions, different meanings, different purposes that now we have to explore. And specifically coming out of the quote unquote holiday season in which we just had, there were a lot of triggers and activations, specifically where familial dynamics are concerned. That is going to put us in a situation to have to rethink, restructure, rewire our brains in a particular way before we can take action and make moves to start kind of executing in our external realm what it is that we're arriving at in our inner realm. Now, Mars in this Cancer energy, he doesn't feel so hot. He doesn't feel so good. Again, he'd rather be in a state of movement, taking action, making moves. But this is a time for us to get in touch with what our motivations actually are. What is the fuel that is driving us? What are our values, our priorities? What means the most to us? In the Cancer energy, we're overly attached to the past. We're kind of clinging to what is tried, tested, and true, clinging to familiarity, to tradition, to a certain degree. And of course, because we are entering into the new world, into the new earth, the parameters, the structures, the boundaries of our lives have to change. And so this is the beginning, if you will, of unpacking a lot of our inner realm wants, needs, and desires, understanding why we take action on the things that we do, how we assert ourselves out into the world in order to go after the things that we need to go after, where, again, values, priorities are changing, shifting our focus, and whether or not, again, the path, the direction in which we were currently walking, whether or not we're still in alignment with it, whether we're still resonating with it. And a lot of us are going to come to the answer that no, we're no longer on that path in that direction because it belonged to the old version of self. And so there is a lot of work, shadow work to be done with this particular retrograde cycle. Again, going to encourage you to download all of the things, all of the guides that I've created in order to help you kind of align with this particular energy and get a clarity on how to actually execute upon the plan that needs to be executed upon when gifted with the green light go ahead to actually do so. This is about us just understanding our natural impulses, our natural instincts, what's driving us, what's fueling us. It's not to say that we can't take action and make moves, but for the most part, especially in this Cancer energy, it's going to be a defensive, protective type of action. There is this mama bear energy with Mars in Cancer. There is this need, if you will, to fight, defend, protect what it is that is valuable, what we do deem to be of worth and value, what we have already built and created. And so there is an aspect where, again, most of the actions in which we are taking are to kind of get in alignment in our inner realm. There is a lot of realizations to be had. There is a lot to unpack, a lot to reassess, which of course is what a retrograde is all about. And so this particular chapter, if you will, is the reason why we're coming into a quote unquote new year thinking that, we have guns ablazing, we have our eye on the target. Why aren't we moving faster than we're currently moving? And it's because Mars, who rules over our physical energy, is not meant to be asserting himself out in the external realm. Therefore, again, all of this energy is internalized and we have a lot of reflection to do. Now, again, if you've listened to some of my other rants and raves about this particular transit, you would know that, Mars kind of festers up the restlessness, the frustration, the anger, and there's no better way to figure out what we're actually passionate about, what we actually care about, than allowing our not so nice thoughts and feelings to kind of teach us where it is that, again, there's this emotional intensity driving us, pushing us to either fight, defend, protect, or to initiate and begin something new. And so, there's going to be a lot of frustration. There's going to be a lot of restlessness. Ants in our pants are definitely taking over. However, once we can understand our motivations, once we can understand the fuel that we are using emotionally and intuitively speaking to actually align with the path, with the vision, with the goal, with the dream that we now want to be pursuing, we just have to really understand ourselves better before we can take action. Once you understand your motivations, your drive, it's no longer impulse. It's a well thought out, thoroughly kind of calculated action that we're executing upon. And because, Cancer rules over the foundation of where it is that we're coming from and where it is that we're currently at and the inner realm foundation of our emotions and whether or not we have to nurture and nourish ourselves back to a place of stability before we take action and make moves out in the external realm, there's going to be a lot of attention on our private lives, on our inner realm lives, on our emotional lives, the familial dynamics, and the very intense connections that are shifting within it. So, of course, there is a not so nice manifestation of this energy, which is restlessness and frustration and anger and acting on impulse without understanding why and creating messes in your domestic area of life that don't need to be created. But that is just a further teaching tool that you do not have the power and control over your mental plane, over your emotions, over your actions, and therefore probably not bringing the creator abilities online here in the year of 9. Of course, if you're doing the work and you are, analyzing yourself and understanding yourself and kind of sitting with the thoughts and the feelings that come up and being able to transform that and alchemize it into information, wisdom, and knowledge that is going to help not only empower us in our journey, in our mission, in our purpose, but also help the people in our realm, our familial aspects, our relationship dynamics to do better, to be better, we're all going to be better off for it. So yes, there's going to be a lot of realizations, and specifically speaking, when the anxiety and the uncertainties and the worries kind of creep up within you, not knowing the answers, because again, we're in the year of 9. The nodes of the moon shifting into Pisces and Virgo axis is really going to require us to surrender, not having all the answers, not understanding what is awaiting us around the corner, and walking forward in faith anyways. But when those not so nice thoughts and feelings creep up and they create this emotional reaction of anxiety, of worry, and it really has a little bit of a impact on our overall health and wellness, that in itself should be an indicator on what it is that we need to do in order to stabilize practices, routines, in order for us to be taking care of ourselves so that we can neutralize those particular not so nice vibrations and frequencies within us. And again, alchemize them, transform them into something powerful, into a fuel that feels good driving us instead of, again, tapping into the not so good fuel that is constantly going to keep us in a state of fear, anxiety, and a little bit of rage. So we have to understand our impulses. We have to understand our instincts. We have to understand our anger. We have to understand our passions, our desires, our sexual desires. Mars is all about, that raw sexual energy and the inner courage that we now need to be tapping into in order to pivot, to actually break away from the path that our ego has had us pursuing and to start aligning with the higher self and creating the realm and reality that not only looks good, but feels good as well.